for the entire country. If anything breaks, we'll go back to Brian. All week, we all witnessed the horrific scenes, the looting, the vandalism, the violence, the beatdowns, the shootings, the stabbings, the arson, you name it. One rioter was arrested for threatening to blow up a police station and turn it into Swiss cheese. America's cities, they have now devolved into complete and utter anarchy. So far, Minneapolis has suffered over $55 million in building damage and looting alone. Now authorities are warning that sophisticated criminals, organized crime, that they're using the riots to plot strategic heists. But get this, the left solution to the chaos: defund and dismantle the police. Now, have they lost touch with all reality? Are they really that dumb? Keith Ellison is now the Attorney General of Minnesota. His son, Jeremiah, he's a Minneapolis City Council member. He just tweeted, quote, "We're going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department, and when we're done, we're not simply going to glue it back together." President of that city council agreeing, quote, "Yes, we're going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department." Today, Congresswoman Omar also agreed, tweeting, "It's time to disband the Minneapolis Police Department." Now, sadly, this call to action, it's not just taking place in Minneapolis. Liberal cities all across America, Democrats now, are taking big steps to defund or dismantle their police. In Los Angeles, their mayor out there, Garcetti, vowing to cut up to $150 million from that department. He also referred to members of the LAPD as killers. Now, today, the LAPD union slammed the mayor, calling his remarks political pandering that smeared every single police officer in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, members of the LAPD, well, they had this to say to a local councilwoman. Let's take a look.
You bowed down to Black Lives Matter. These police officers that are out here protecting the city, that protected it from being on fire, if it wasn't for them, this city would be burnt down right now. All of them about.
All right, sadly, there are similar anti-police proposals all over the country, including New York City Council candidates. In that case, 40 or so of them. Hillary Clinton's former spokesperson also calling for police to be defunded. So is Socialist Congresswoman, part of the squad, Congresswoman Tlaib, tweeting, quote, "I just want us to dig deeper that the hashtag defund police movement isn't just brushed aside. The mob, the media, some there, they're pushing for the police to be abolished." News story in the Atlantic reads, quote, "Defund the police. America needs to rethink its priorities for the whole criminal justice system." Maybe they forgot that Donald Trump did criminal justice reform to get rid of disparate sentencing. Rolling Stone publishing a, quote, "practical guide to defunding the police." Cosmo, they wrote, "Defunding the police will actually make us safer." Really? And look at this. In a rare moment of common sense from the media mob, you had a writer over at Vox.com tweeting, quote, "I'm sorry, but this abolish the police seems like a poorly thought out idea that's gotten popular with shocking speed." After widespread rage and condemnation from his far left peers, guess what? He was pressured, groupthink, he was forced to apologize. So clearly in the new radical far left Socialist Democratic Party, it is now officially woke to abolish the police. Today, Byron York, he brought up a really good point in his tweet, writing, quote, "Well, maybe it's time for some enterprising blue state municipality to go bold and eliminate its police force. Let's see what happens." Comrade de Blasio, how about we'll start with you? How about you give up the entire police department in New York, give them, well, 2 weeks paid leave, including, by the way, the armed police officers protecting you and your family every day. And after all, Black Lives Matter, they have already promised they're going to fill the void, that they will patrol the streets, armed, militias, if you want to call it, armed peace officers. Really? The same Black Lives Matter group that frequently is called for violence against the police? Take a look.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. 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 Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
Didn't then President Obama meet with some of the radicals in some of these groups? Now, as you're watching tonight, ask yourself this question. How do you feel? Are you comfortable with the police being replaced by, let's say, militias like Black Lives Matters and others? Well, according to Gallup, well, we have that answer. It's a resounding no. Recent polls showing that vast majority of Americans trust the police. In fact, according to Gallup, only the police, the military, small businesses received a net positive favorability rating. And just for the record, the mob and the media, politicians, they had the highest net negative ratings. Still, some far-left mayors, governors, they are ready, willing to dismantle the police. Our first line of defense. Even the Michigan governor, that's Governor Shutdown, Whitmer, said that she understands the sentiment behind the movement. And Governor Shutdown, who used to use the police to enforce her over-the-top, absolutely obscene lockdown orders during the pandemic, well, guess what? Today, she violated her own social distancing orders. She took part in a protest. Remember, she outlawed lawn mowing. And for Shutdown Whitmer, many other Democrats, the rules don't apply to them. They'll have you arrested for going to church, or if you're having a funeral, even though you're wearing masks in New York. But then they'll participate in protests with zero social distancing. They'll disband the police force, all while they remain safe and sound. Of course, they have their armed guards. They have their high-wall security. And guess what? They'll let businesses get looted, burned to the ground, all while continuing to take their paycheck. By the way, that goes the same for Nancy Pelosi. She says we need proxy voting and mail-in ballots for people's health and safety. In November, so much is on the line. You can't have congressmen and women voting in person. Must all do it by mail. Well, ultimately, it's going to come down to one very simple question. Do you want jobs, or you like this new mob rule? Not much of a question for me. Joining me with reaction tonight, Fox News contributor Dan Bongino, Fox News correspondent at large, Geraldo Rivera.